All right, let's do it. You ready, Kyle?
Hey guys, welcome back to the Transformation Church Message Recap Podcast. We are back.
We're back.
We are back at it
Justin
again.
is still here, even after he preached on Sunday.
Yeah, I didn't get fired yet.
He didn't get fired.
We didn't get fired yet. Nah, we're back. I'm your host, Justin, one of the executive pastors, Rick, one of the other executive pastors. The other
of ministries.
Yeah, of ministries.
Not the business
I'm
side,
of business.
You don't want that.
Yeah, and then lead pastor Brad Livingston.
We're here.
We got Kyle, production extraordinaire behind the camera.
Running the show, baby. Running the show. So Justin preached on Sunday.
He did.
Did a great job.
Fantastic job.
He only offended the entire congregation.
Hey, at least they all laughed.
once.
At least they all laughed.
Yeah. And I don't know if it was like a funny laugh or one of those awkward like like laugh.
It was definitely a funny laugh. It was good.
I think it was
I think
all right.
everyone started laughing at me laughing.
Yeah, that was true.
Especially in the 8:30 service.
Yeah.
I was dying. And everyone started laughing at me laughing. So
Here's the thing. My intention was not to offend anyone, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
But
truth
obviously
is offensive.
But obviously that statement, I can see someone not liking the choice of the word. If you didn't know, what I said was I made a whole point about that. I don't take financial advice from people broker than me or health advice from people fatter than me. Yeah. And I probably could have used a different word than fatter. I can see if somebody may take that. But also in that, I did some self-deprecation because I am not the epitome of health and being in shape. I mean,
neither am I.
I got several chins going on and the whole thing. So like, I'm not, you know what I'm saying? So I'm making fun of myself, but like, but you know,
you could have said, "Nor am I going to give someone else health advice."
I could have, you know, at least
it's a little late for that
someone
now,
smaller than me, I guess.
Right. I'm not going to give a guy with a six-pack health advice.
Yeah. I'm not. What's he going to do? Like, think about it.
Yeah.
When you think about what I said, it makes total sense.
It makes total sense. Period. Yeah.
So
the only people that got offended by it are people that
are fat. I'm just kidding. And by that I mean fatter than me. Just kidding. No. But you know, the point I was making, you know, is real. You know, because I went talked about.
Yeah.
You know, people that are maybe having a hard time financially, and they get advice from people that are up to their eyeballs, indebted to their eyeballs, or you know,
the auntie one was that one. I think that one soothed it over.
Yeah. If you're having marriage problems and you keep going to your friend or auntie that's on her fifth marriage, that's the person on their fifth marriage in your life probably isn't the one to be giving you marriage advice.
And I'll say
this. I was going to say to that. Yeah. It may not be your fault you've been in 5 marriages. Maybe one of them passed away. One of them, like, it may not all be your fault. There's still a big however. You're still on your 5th one. I mean,
well,
you know?
You're right. Well, and I think, too, it's like, it doesn't mean that person doesn't have experience and knowledge that's not valuable.
Sure.
That just can't be the only person speaking into like you need.
Yeah.
You still
that's a very pastoral way to say it.
I'm sure they do have some great insight on things. It's like, yeah, they could probably help you out. But at the end of the day, you want to find people that are where you're trying to be,
right?
Not are where you're trying not to be.
Yeah, because you could also say you don't want the single woman that's on her 6th kid without ever being married,
right?
Being the one giving you marriage advice,
right?
Type deal too.
Yeah,
you want to go to the couple in the church that's been married for 40 years that knows what it's like to have some good years and some bad years, but work your way through it and all those things. That's the kind of point I was making.
That's 100%. Yeah. And if people didn't deduct that from what you were saying,
I can't help you.
Can't help. Yeah. Can't help stupid.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. I wasn't going to go that far. He said that, not me this time.
You've said enough. I'll take care of it.
No. I hope that wasn't. I think everybody got it.
No,
I wasn't trying to be. I was not trying to be offensive.
Only 4 people walked out.
Yeah, I don't think no one walked out really.
No.
If they did, I didn't see them. But
I got a message that said that you did a fantastic job.
Oh, the A. Yeah. Thank you very much.
They called you Jonah Hill.
Yes, no, someone said, your buddy, I guess, said that when he was leaving. And I told him, I said, you'd be shocked at how many times over the years I've been told that. Like, literally.
Like, no,
yeah. Literally. Like even like 2 weeks ago in this lobby after church, someone was saying something said something about that. I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, it happens a lot.
It happens.
Yeah.
But that was a good day. I'm glad it's over. You know, when you don't, you're not the normal preacher. It's a lot of mental power. It's a lot of mental capacity leading up to the message. Yeah. You know, you got your prep, and then even the week before, you're finalizing, and we do our run through, and then after the run through, maybe change some things. So like even all weekend, it's like it's on your mind. You're running through it in your head and all this stuff. So it's just like it's ever present for a few weeks in your brain.
Yep.
So I'm kind of glad it's over, and just a sense of it's out of my brain now.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. You know, people ask me, because I do get compliments, and I'm so appreciative of people that, you know, said it was a good message and all these things. Like, I'm appreciative. I believe I'm a decent communicator. I don't think I'm good. I think, I think Rick's way better than me. I think Pastor Rad's way better than me. But I enjoy it when I get to do it. Yeah. But I also love the fact that I'm not chomping at the bit to want to do it more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I do love that I'm not like, or coming more, hey, when you gonna let me preach? When you gonna let me preach? Like, I would hate to be nagging like that, where you feel like you have an obligation to let us more because we're on staff. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think it would cause a weird dynamic. So neither one of us do that.
I tried to give mine away yesterday. I was like, hey guys, I'm on this week. Like, anybody else want to speak?
So I like the fact that it's I'm satisfied with the amount.
Yeah.
But I do really enjoy, like, I told someone, maybe it was y'all, I don't know. I was telling myself, like, yes, there's a weightiness to preaching because there's a spiritual component. It's not, you're not just giving a speech, right? But I said, I also try to have fun while I'm up there and not take it so serious. But I don't mean, not that I don't take the spiritual part serious.
Right.
But I also do try to have fun while I'm doing it. Like, I want it to be fun. You know, and I did. I had a good time Sunday with it. It was god awful hot. Those front lights on that stage though are just hot. And I was in a long sleeve. I don't know what I was thinking wearing the long sleeve shirt. I don't know why that crossed my mind. I thought that was a good idea.
Business over here.
Yeah, I don't know what. Oh, it's summertime. I should have worn like I don't know, but I was about the third service. I was like, I was up there at one point like I'm cooking.
Well, that's why it's like there are some Sundays I walk in on the front row and I lean over to you. I'm like, is it hot to you? And you're like, no. I'm like, all right, it's just gonna be one of them days, you know.
Yeah.
But it was good, man. It is different, you know. It's like that's what we talk about all the time when you guys speak. It's really cool to have a deep bench here because it's like, obviously I communicate. Pastor Ric is a phenomenal communicator. Pastor Dan's here. Like that's always the ace up the sleeve. Nate's doing
four or five, including you.
5, including me, and that's for a church our size to have really good community, not just people that can, but when they speak, people want to listen. I mean, that's rare,
And that's just like our staff,
right?
I'm sure there's even probably a couple maybe they've gone through pipeline. I told someone it might have been. I think it was Sean Grimes after church. We were kind of leaving. He was wrapping up his stuff, like next steps was going on. And he was like, hey, man, good job today, whatever. And I told him thank you. And I said, now that I know he just graduated Pipeline.
Yeah.
And I said, now that so many people have gone through Pipeline, it's a little more intimidating because they all know what it's like to be criticized. Right. They know what to look for. Before it was just like, a couple of us would get up and preach and everyone. But now that everyone's done it and knows what to look for and criticize, I was like, it's a lot more intimidating when you got a whole bunch of Pipeline graduates all over the place.
It's true, man.
And he laughed, but that is true. Yeah. When you think
we start the Communicators Masterclass in September. So we'll actually be able to, we'll have another 5 or 6, if not more, a few more people that we're training for communicating. So, next summer, depending on how things go, there may be 1 or 2 of those students that's ready for that.
Yeah.
So I think there's just a lot of cool opportunity. But and even for us, it's like one of the cool things is like I don't preaching on Sundays doesn't really gas me out. So it's like that's my primary responsibility here at this church, right? Is vision and preaching. But the cool thing is it really does, because we have enough communicators here, it lets us not just throw people in for no reason. It's like all you guys preach for a purpose. Like I'm looking at the series and I'm like, Rick needs to talk about that. And then I can give it to him. Like, I give you the sermon. Like,
listen, I was so mad. Like when this last time I preached in June, I had already, because again, we get the sermon series calendar already ahead. And the beginning of the calendar, I was supposed to preach. It was like TC Sounds or whatever. And I'm like, oh, yeah, this would be great. So I'm trying to figure out the songs and everything else, blah, 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 blah.
Then it changes.
And then, you know when it changed? On the freaking podcast, I found out it changed. Pastor Brad is like, yeah,
by the way,
yeah, Rick's closing out the series. You know how they do it. And I'm like, in my mind, I smiled on camera, but on my mind, I'm going, no, I'm not. Holy crap!
Yes, you are.
Yeah. And so, but what was so crazy, and this is when I went to him there in Pipeline, I was like, I know you hear from the Lord, because what I had already typed out and I was preparing for. It was
July.
For July, yeah. It was going to be the song from The Greatest Showman, "Never Enough," and it was coming from the idea: have you ever felt like you weren't enough? And so then, when I looked on my the topic I was supposed to preach on, it was stop trying to prove yourself, which all correlates together. So like I looked at my computer. I just started crying. I'm like, "Yep, this has to be that. This is from the Lord." And so,
so he got a rep in June, and then you have one in July. But it's like that's the cool part. It's like we can look at stuff and like, oh no, we know each other, and I'm like, I could preach on that, but Rick is living that out.
Yeah.
Like, so Rick's going to preach on that, or Pastor Dan or whatever. So you'll have another Sunday this year.
I do.
Yeah. Surprise.
Hey!
It's not till November, so that's why we probably haven't talked about it. But in the Bridge Builder series, the Generosity series, I'm going to give you another Sunday.
Yeah.
So, but that's the same thing. It's like that's the Bridge Builders and all that is like that is a community you're cultivating.
Right.
So to give you a Sunday to speak to that, it makes sense. So
I think that's a true testament to your leadership, though. The fact that you know your staff well enough and you're in our lives enough to know, hey, listen, I could speak to this, but yet because you're living it out and I know you and we have a deep relationship with each other, then because of that, I know you're going through this. And so now here's what you can speak on. I think that's a testament to your leadership and how you lead us as well.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
But what y'all don't know is how Rick used to be the king of the illustrated sermons.
Illustrated sermons.
But Rick would bring some. Those were back
in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yes, those aren't a thing anymore. Not even, you're talking about late 2000s.
Late 2000s.
No, I'm talking about more like 2000.
You're everything. And he's doing like this.
A little 2010 even, 12.
Oh, yeah.
But I think when those were popular, you probably were the king of that. I mean, I don't know anyone would have been better than that.
I mean, it was good, yeah. So I'm excited because I'm doing my first illustration type thing
in a sermon this week.
In a sermon this week.
I mean, you wrote a dang human video for every sermon.
It's true.
Rick Rodriguez
human videos
Broadway.
And skits. Yeah. That's all I did.
Yeah, so, he was running a Saturday Night Live on Wednesdays.
Legitimately, that's what we were doing. Yeah. So the Mexican Jimmy Fallon.
No, I remember back in the day when me and Rick first knew each other, he was in Prattville, and the church I was at here, we were in the same denomination. So every year the district had a competition of different things. So we would always, we'd all go, it was always usually in Prattville or whatever. Right. And one year I was there with our students and our youth group, and they were doing competing. And when their team got up, they had this kid that did
he was a Brazilian
jiu-jitsu, and they worked that all into the human video. And he was like kicking Satan's butt with jiu-jitsu in the human video. Yeah. And what was the song? It was like a Linkin Park song. Set It Off.
Yeah,
it was Set It Off.
POD, Set It Off.
Yeah.
So it was the whole crowd. I was like, I looked at my guys. I was like, y'all beat.
Sorry,
y'all are beat.
You just lost.
And we actually won nationals that year with that.
They just whooped y'all with that. And then we had a guy at our church. He used to always compete in worship and with singing and guitar and stuff against Will Thornton, our buddy Will. It was in his youth
Will's
group.
a gangster.
And Will used to beat him every year, and he had a hard time with that. But
but it was fun. So
Will.
Those were the
Speaking of the name Will, let me tell you what you did. You absolutely became a hero in my son's book because you used him as to help you on stage.
Yeah.
And so after the 8:30 service, I come into the lobby and no joke, this is my son. He goes, "I was on stage." I said, "I know." He goes, "Pastor Justin asked me to be on stage." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "I'm him." like that. I said, yeah. I go, no, you're not, because you couldn't pick them up. he goes, well, I could have. Whatever.
Surely he could.
Oh, he definitely could.
Yeah, I was like, well, I told him on when y'all first got here, because I had thought about Will the whole time. I was like, Will seems like a good one because I wanted to talk about you can be strong, and he is strong. Like we know he's strong. Like we've seen the videos and stuff. So I thought he would be a good one the whole time. In my head, I was thinking Will.
Right.
But then I was like, do I need to find someone for each service? But when y'all got here on Sunday morning, I saw him back in the back, and I said, hey, do you want to help me with this illustration? He was like, sure, what do I got to do? And so I took him in the little room. I said, I'm just going to have you stand on this bench. And I said, I told him the idea.
Right.
I was like, so try to pick me up, but like if you just pick me up and put me up there, it's going to kill the whole illustration.
So don't actually do it. Right.
Don't actually do it, but
he told me I couldn't put them on, but I had to act like, I said, yeah, that's true. You know, it's an illustration for a sermon. Yeah. So you're not trying to compete this.
And he could,
this week,
and that's why I even said like he could have got me up there, but like there was more people. Like the idea of pulling people up it gets harder.
But you made his day.
Oh, we'll get him.
He was so excited. He was just like, I'm him. I was like, whatever, bro.
Will's funny. Will's funny.
Yeah.
No, it was a good day. I had a good time.
It was good.
I had a good time with it.
Yeah.
My dad came in the 8:30.
Yeah.
My dad was here, and then my mom. Of course, my mom and them are here. Yeah. My mom and them are always here in the 10. But yeah, he was here. That was cool.
It was so funny to me to see your mom and dad, not to go down that trail, it's like together, like just hanging out, like around each other. It's so
they don't see each other that much, but they've always been on good
like
terms.
super cordial. Yeah, like
Yeah. So
and you like Joe, like I was watching them joke, Joe, and your mom joking around. And I was like, you just don't see that much.
It's been like that.
Right. It's always like that. I remember.
I remember literally. My mom and them tell this. I don't remember this. I don't remember it this way, but apparently it happened. But when my mom first met Joe, it's funny.
Who,
looking
by the way,
back.
is
My stepdad Joe. When my mom first met him, I must have been, I don't know, 5th, 6th grade, something like that. Something like that, 5th grade-ish. Whatever. How old are you in 5th grade?
10. 9, 10.
Right?
Yeah.
And after we met him the first time me and my brother, we met him, is the first time. He also brought his girl. So he's got a daughter that's my age. She's 4 months older than me, but we were in the same grade. And then at the time, so I was 10, and then she was 3. So I'm 7 years older than my other stepsister. So he brought his girls. So it was the first time we met him, we met his girls. And then Joe's always been pretty good in shape, and he works out even to this day. I mean, he looks pretty good for his age. And the joke, my mom always felt bad because I don't remember this, but us telling my dad when my dad would taking us over there to drop him off the first time is, oh, you got to come meet Joe, mom's new boyfriend, whatever. And then when dad's cool, he's like, yeah, let's go meet him. And then when Joe comes out, we're all like, Joe, show him your muscles and all this. My dad's like, I think we're cool without the muscles. Yeah, I don't remember the muscles part, but apparently that's what we said because Joe's really like funny. In a tank top and was always so like, show him your muscles. My dad's like, I don't think I need to see the muscles.
Joe could play like an Italian, like an old school Italian gangster in a tank top in a movie. Like, he could totally
I can see that.
Well, some people used to say too, he looked like Tim McGraw when he wears a hat.
I could see.
I
could definitely see.
And
that.
he can also sing. Joe can sing pretty good.
Really?
But yeah. So we're standing over here Sunday talking to my dad, and Joe walks up, and so they talk for a second. So when we were
really
kids, and my dad was drop us off at my mom's, him and Joe would sit out there at the yard or on the porch for 15, 20 minutes just talking. Like they always had a good relationship, and my mom and my dad still do. Again, they don't see each other. It's a function that either me or my brother are doing something that they're usually both at.
Yeah.
But, so they're not around each other much, but totally cool.
It was cool to see your pops, man. I hadn't seen him in a while.
He's cool, yeah.
I didn't get a chance to say much to him.
He had great things to say about the church. Last time he was here was last year when I preached last year, but he noticed he's like there seems to be more people, and he was talking about the diversity. He's Catholic. He goes to Catholic church when he goes, but I was trying to tell him, I was like, it is special. So when you look around, like you don't see this everywhere.
Yeah.
As a lot of churches service is over, people are out the door, and it's like not to feel like we're bragging on ourselves, but it's like people linger, want to hang out. But I was like, when you look at the diversity in age, the diversity in race, all these things, like it is special. And he was like, it was great. He loved the music. He's like, y'all got some talented musicians. He said something along those lines. And Yeah, it was cool. It was cool to have him here. You know, he's very. They're proud of me, you know, like, and I'm glad of that, you know, which he's always kind of been that way. He's always been an encourager. My dad was great. He was a fantastic dad growing up. I remember even in books and stuff, like I bought a book one time. We were walking through Barnes and Noble as a kid, and I bought a book called How to Become CEO, literally. And then like he wrote a little. That night he like wrote in one of the pages, you know, just like always encouraged. At 11, he didn't discourage like. You know how hard it is to be CEO. He didn't do that. He was just very always encouraging like that. So it was very, very great.
Old Rocky.
Yeah, he's pretty funny too.
Is that where you get your humor from?
I don't know. I like to think I can
see part of it.
I think I'm pretty funny.
I can see part of it coming.
I can see part of it coming from him. I don't know that he was ever known to be like the funniest person. My mom's not known for humor,
but witty.
He can definitely be witty.
He can be witty. Yeah. I remember being around him and. It's his brother. JC's dad's his brother. Right?
Yeah,
I remember being his brother. That was a trip.
Too. He was pretty witty, but I don't know. I don't know. I feel like the humor comes from just being around friends all the time. Yeah. Like you learn it picking on each other and making fun of.
Absolutely.
That's what I seem to remember.
Well, we're the best at.
Yeah. It's fun. I don't know how people don't do that. But anyways,
Sunday was good.
It's a good day. I was tired. Like after 3 services and doing that, I was tired.
Yeah, it's so interesting. You know, you talk about it's like it is a lot. I mean, I talked about it on the podcast with Josh Lipscomb for Pastor to Pastor. How it's crazy. It's like there's not really another position in the world other than being a lead pastor or a primary communicator at a church where it's like you give a keynote address and either 24 hours later or 48 hours later, you're writing a new keynote address.
Right.
Like you're just like, you know what I mean?
All these guys that do keynote speeches at conferences and leadership
the
stuff.
same thing over and over again. Yeah.
They write a book, then they make a 30 to 40 minute presentation that's a summary of the book.
Yeah. They master it.
And they master it, and then they give that talk over and over again. Just like Simon Sinek.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of my favorites, but dude makes $100K per gig.
Yeah. Giving the same speech you just gave 5 minutes ago, and you can find it on YouTube.
You can find it on YouTube for free.
Right.
It's like, but it is wild.
It's wild. That's why it's.
That's why I think Kerry Newhoff has mentioned. He equates a lot of being a lead pastor more to a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, but even stand-up comedians, you know, they spend a lot of time working out. They got to go to the small clubs.
Yeah.
Because you can only work out your jokes in front of an audience.
Yeah.
You need people, but then they're crafting their message, the bigger one, the bigger set.
Yeah.
That they would then go say on tour or something with. But yeah, I mean, content generating machines as a pastor or as a church, you know. But it's like, and that's tough though.
Yeah, that's why it's like interesting for us. Is like we'll preach on Sunday, do 3 services. Well, I'll preach on service, do 3 services. Crash Sunday afternoon. Monday is like a kind of just me in my own head debrief day, like writing some things down, and then I wake up Tuesday morning at 6:30, and I'm already. It's like next Sunday, here we go. It's like we're already.
What I would love to learn more about is I know that there are pastors or preachers out there that maybe in larger churches that have.
Content teams.
Yeah. That I heard a guy on a podcast. He has like someone on their staff is like they're like he called him like their research assistant.
He's a researcher.
They're just a researcher, and I'm like, I understand in concept what a researcher does. They research things, but like, how as a team are they using that person to craft sermons?
Yeah.
And like, what's the other team like? What is the rest of the team, and how do they do that? I'm kind of. Does that, and I can see how some people might feel like that takes away from the spiritual side of the message. I don't personally believe that.
But Jimmy Rollins don't even write his; he just preaches it.
Really?
Yeah. Right. He's like I'm a gifted communicator, but I'm not a gifted.
See, I feel like that's how I would.
Constructor.
That's how I would be.
Yeah.
I have the hardest time.
He sits down with the team. They write it for him, and then he memorizes it and masters it, and adds his own stories and stuff, and then he preaches it, but he doesn't create the content, So
I don't know that I see anything wrong with that.
I think to each one their own. It's like it works for him. I think when it comes to, I think in ministry, people love to put people in boxes.
Yeah.
You got to do it this way. And it's like, it says who, like I don't, Timothy wasn't Paul, Elijah wasn't Elijah. Like there's certain things that just went different.
And I've heard of more churches, maybe we've talked about this before, that have gone to a teaching team.
Yeah.
Where there's not one main communicator.
Yeah.
They rotate like 3 or 4 guys all the time.
Yeah.
Which I could see maybe some people liking that and some people not. It's like I could see how some people like, I want to know who my the pastor is still the pastor,
right?
And the pastor is is part of the teaching team, but
yeah, no, it's that's a real deal. I mean, so I have 2 AI assistants for my content development. So I have 2 AI platforms that I use.
Really?
Yeah. So just in case no one knows that, I guess they do now. But yeah. So like when we're developing content, so I sit down.
I think AI can be great.
Yeah. So I sit down the last weekend of every month. I sit down and work on the next month's content, and then the last weekend of every season, April, August, December, I do a 3-day writing session for the next season. And so one of the things that I do for the monthly one is I spend most of those days in the AI world, actually. So I write out like 10 questions to ask the AI modules. And so I have one that's secular and one that's Christian.
Oh, wow.
So one is like a pastor's assistant, and then one is like a secular AI researcher.
Yeah.
And so I ask the same questions in each one. And then, so it's like, what are the the top 10 reasons people have anxiety? And it gives you all these reasons and like what the research shows and like all that stuff. And then now I'm pulling all that content. And so then I formulate, for the whole series, I'll formulate, for each week a statement that's like the one point, like this is what this sermon is about. I'll download all of the AI research into the module, and then I'll incorporate whatever the biblical story is in those scriptures into that. So then when I get there on Tuesday morning, I'm walking into a document that already has clarity on what I'm preaching on, already has research done for it from the AI modules, and it already has the story from the Bible that I'm using. So then it's just building on top of all of that. But yeah, I mean, it's the equivalent of like a 10-person research team using AI. That's why I started doing last year. So.
May need to shoot me that link just so I can know, because I use my AI for once I got my sermon and stuff down and where I want to go. How to frame the words better. And to me, you're a wordsmith. Like I'll come to you and say, how do I put this in the right words, right? So I'll take what the AI does, and they'll give me a great, 5 or like I can hit refresh, and it'll give me like 5 or 6 different ones.
Yeah.
And then I'll take that and I'll put my own words to that, to where it sounds more like me than a robot.
Than
an AI thing. Yeah. So that's what I do.
There was a good podcast a while back that Brady shared them did talking about, might have been Brady and Carrie Newhoff or something, talking about what level of appropriateness is AI in the church world, specifically like with preachers.
Yeah, with sermon content construction.
And they had a great conversation about that, where it's like, if you're using it for research, it can be, like Brady's argument is, if you're using it for research, it can be just every other tool.
Right.
It's a tool to research and all that.
It's informative.
But if you go into your AI and you put, craft me a 30-minute sermon on this, and it spits out, and that's how you're creating your sermons.
Right.
That's
Probably
not
sketch.
not what you want to be doing.
That's the devil's work. It is. It is really interesting. I mean, like I used to say, it's like, I use them as research assistants. It's like, what are the, again, it's like to ask the question, what are the top 10 reasons people deal with anxiety? Like, it's like I could spend 3 hours on Google if I wanted to, but why?
Right.
Why? Like,
you know what I used ChatGPT for the last time?
What's that?
Or one of the AIs is I needed help because I needed to write. I asked it this question: write me a letter of recommendation for someone that I don't believe deserves one.
That's hilarious, bro.
It was a good one, wasn't it?
Which one of our former employees did you have to send that over?
It was not that at all. It was not that at all. Yeah. I didn't. Hopefully, this person will see this. I don't think they will, so not this world, but still. I didn't really want to do it.
Yeah.
and I kind of felt obligated, and I don't feel like they really. So I used it, and actually, the way it worded stuff, I was like. It was so nice, and and I used a good chunk of that.
Absolutely. When this person does finally show up, they do a phenomenal job.
It was way better than that. Even it was just
that's
really
so
good.
funny, dude.
But where you get in trouble is you got to check those. When it gives you references and stuff, though.
Yeah,
you got to check all that. 'Cause sometimes it just makes
it up or whatever.
Makes up the citations and stuff. Like that. They real.
No, I mean it's like I said, it's
attorney got busted using it in court.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Attorney was using it like. As
definitive
to cite and precedent, Wallace versus Schakowsky.
Oh my God, dude,
said,
that's
and then
crazy.
The judge was like, it was all fake.
Yeah, it's like that's not real. Bro.
It wasn't real. He was using Chat GPT.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we like I said, we use it. I use it as the Christian AI is connected to like Logos and some of those softwares. So
Do you use Logos?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I have it too. I bought it years ago.
Yeah, I use it. I don't use it as much as I have some friends that use it a lot. I don't use it as quite as much.
I imagine Wallnoffer uses it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Have you ever looked at it?
Logos?
Yeah.
I've looked at it, yeah.
I have it. Actually, a few families in the church bought it for me.
Oh, nice.
Like I was just talking about it one day at a dinner, and I was like, "Yeah, I've been looking at it," and it was like $2,000 or something.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I don't.
That's why I never
I've been
bought
looking
it.
at it, but I don't. And then they gave me a card the next Sunday. And it was the login code for the Logos software. I was like, oh man, it's so cool. So shout out to them if you guys are watching.
It's so in depth. Like
it's very intuitive. So the AI platform pulls from Logos. So it's pulling all its content from that, so you can kind of trust it. And then the secular one it's almost like Google based, really. Like it's just pulling from whatever's out there. But again, it's for me. It's more just like I want research assistance. You know what I mean? So like, what are the 10 for that, or what are the 5 reasons people are in debt, or what is the top 6 reasons for divorce, or whatever? Because for us, one of the things we work really hard on as communicators is like the sermon has to matter.
Yeah.
So it's great that we've all sat in sermons before that's like, this dude's really passionate about what he's preaching about. I just don't care. Doesn't matter to me. It's not important, or not applicable, I should say. It's always important, but it's like, what does this have to do with me? So whenever you can dive in and start doing some of that homework, it helps you understand, to me at least, it helps me understand why people think the way they think or what people are struggling with. Then you can show how the message correlates to these areas that they're struggling with. And now people go, oh, okay, this matters to me. It's not just a Bible story.
Right.
This matters to me. And I think that's a big part of what we do. And so I have a pretty weird formula for the way my prep goes, but the last day, I spend the last day of sermon prep on the first 5 minutes and the last 5 minutes of my message. It's been a whole day on 10 minutes, so it's just really unique, but works for me.
Crazy.
Yeah. And then I spend half a day on words. And you talk about that. I spent half a day on. I told Nate that we were working through some of his, and we tweaked a lot of his a couple Sundays ago, and a lot of it was like, "There's better words for this." And he was like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "There's better word, like the way we're putting words together. And there's better words." And there was at one point, I think we spent like 10 or 15 minutes on one phrase. I was like, we can do better than this. And he's like, this is wild. Like, what are we doing? I was like, we can do better than this. Like, there's a better way to say this, and we need to find it. We need, like, just because you can say it that way doesn't mean you shouldn't honor the opportunity to look for a better way to say it than, whatever. And
this is what I said when we first started. Pastor Brad is in my ear. And that's why it's still 3/4 done. Always a better way to say something.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I totally agree. For him, it's also like
understand. Thesaurus.
Dude, I was on FaceTime so we were FaceTime together and on our computers at the same time, and we were literally just Googling like synonyms for whatever. And I'd be like, he would be like, I don't remember what the word was, like, impact or whatever. I was like, that's not a good word. Let's use a different. It was like, what synonyms for impact? And we literally were just going down the list. Like, I think we rattled off probably 100 words. We were trying to find the right one. But yeah, no, I think
that matters.
It's the craft, man. It's like, this is, again, we've all been in a sermon before and been like, I don't really know what he said. It's like, what I told Nate, I said, you can make a statement or you can make a memorable one. Yeah. And the difference between the two is 15 minutes right now.
That's good.
So spend 15 minutes right now. making it memorable, you know?
Scribe. CC Scribe.
So yeah, it was just like you did all the hard work.
Right.
You did 90% of the hard work. Do 10% more, and now your message will. People can take it home. You know, it's like that. So that's just the way I approach it. But we talk about it often. It's
an
like
anomaly. You gotta act like one.
Act like one.
We talked about it before. It's like there's a difference between people, and I'm not saying this about myself. I'm the Craig Rochelle's and the Chris Hodges and even Stephen Furtick, whether you agree with his theology or not. Like, and I don't either. There's an obvious difference. TD Jakes. I mean, there's an obvious difference between the guys that sit in a room on a whiteboard with a computer out, looking up synonyms and antonym words and all those things. You can tell the difference between those guys and guys that go, that's good enough.
Yeah.
And walk away just because they were able to make their point clear. So to me, it's an art, something we, but it's also, it's like, that's hard. It's my job.
It's your job.
It's also my calling. Like,
it's your
I don't know.
vocation.
It's not, hopefully the people out there watching, like we're just having a weird conversation right now. Hopefully people listening and watching is like, you understand, like, we take it serious. We don't just get up. We don't put it together on Saturday. Like, I got to preach tomorrow. Let me whip something up,
Right.
Let me put it in
Let me be Holy
GPT.
Spirit led and just.
Oh, wow. That's real.
Holy Spirit led.
Yeah.
That's a youth pastor stuff right there.
Yeah, we're having Q&A tonight.
Q&A tonight, yeah. No, it is.
Let me clarify this. We are Holy Spirit led.
We are Holy Spirit led.
When communicators use the excuse of, I'm not going to prep throughout the week and I'm just going to let the Holy Spirit download something to me on Sunday morning. That's
communicators,
where I'm trying to come from.
worship leaders.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, to use the Holy Spirit as an excuse to be lazy is outlandish. So,
but it's true.
But people do
it happens all the time.
Yeah, so we're not going to do that here.
No, sir.
So, but I think also part of it, I think, came from my dad, man. Like, I remember growing up watching my dad. Like, and when I was a kid, Saturdays were off limits. You playing something on a Saturday, Pastor Danny ain't coming. Just so you know. He was in his office sun up to sundown.
Wow.
Like, that was like like in his office sun up to sundown. You planning a birthday party, he ain't coming. We knew it ahead of time. He's not coming.
Even if it was y'all's.
We just didn't do it. Like we did not have Saturday birthdays because Dad's not coming. So that was the way. And I also, now, right, wrong, or indifferent, I don't feel it worked for him. I knew when I became a pastor, I did not want that to be my norm.
Yeah.
Because I watched it, and I think it was like, you can't teach an old dog new tricks almost. It was like, that was just the way he did it. And I don't think he wanted to change it, or maybe he didn't. He knew what was best for him.
Yeah.
So, but for me, it's like, that's not really the way I want to do ministry. So a
lot happens on Saturdays. Like the rest of the world does stuff,
Right, yeah. And that was him. I can't speak to how it was before. I was probably 12 or 13. So, like, I don't know if it was that way when I was 6. I just don't really remember. I think, like, as I got into my teenage years is when I really started to notice it. So maybe it was different when I was really, really young. I don't know. But I know, like, so early in my marriage, my dad also was like, start how you want to finish. So it's like, for me, it was like, I'm going to start ministry making sure that Saturdays are not sermon days for me.
Yeah.
But Patrick Waters is the same way. Saturday, when he preaches, is Saturday's sermon prep day. Like, I know he's worked on it before then, but he's going to spend all day Saturday. And to me, I was like, I don't want to do that. So I have to work really hard at a regiment and a process and a system that Tuesday through Friday hold me accountable. And so it's like Tuesday is a certain thing, Wednesday is a certain thing, Thursday is a certain thing.
You also can relax a little. I mean, when I showed up to the dinner Saturday night,
I was shocked you were there.
Yeah, someone else.
Said that.
Yeah. Well, I guess it was you or maybe Ashley.
Me and Ashley. Yeah, we both said it. Yeah.
But I was like, I felt
good.
I was like,
ready,
and I got to eat dinner anyway, so might as well.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm not ready now, I'm not gonna be.
Saturday nights, I don't. If I'm preaching on Sunday, I have over the years made it so I don't do anything on Saturday nights. But to me, it's not that I need to be in sermon prep. To me, I just don't. I don't want to use that many words. Like, I don't want to hear that many words, and I want to speak that many. I just kind of want to be like, I just want a quiet night. Like me and Ash will sit on the couch. We'll watch TV. Like we'll eat dinner. Like we'll do normal things. I just don't want to be around a bunch of energy. And I think that used to be different. I used to love to go out Saturday nights, even though I was preaching on Sunday morning. I think just as I've gotten older, I'm like, like maybe I need more of a runway now that I'm getting older or something. I don't know what it is. I can't helicopter like I used to.
Nothing wrong with that. I ordered a pizza and wings, and I got to the table and I was like, I wonder if I'm gonna have indigestion tomorrow. Like, was this the right choice of food?
Yeah.
It's like
that's true. I also, I pay a really close. So I only eat one of two things on Saturday nights now when I'm preaching the next day. So it's either Chipotle or Chick-fil-A salad. Those are the only two things I eat on Saturday nights. Because I know how I feel the next day when I wake up. I know it's going to give me the right amount of energy, no acid reflux, and none of that stuff. Yeah. So me and Ashley made that decision probably about 6 months ago. It's like from now on, these are our food choices for Saturday night. So it's just stuff like you pick up along the way. It's like, this is what makes me my best, So yeah.
I have the weirdest thing. I think I was telling you is when I public speak is dry mouth.
Oh, yeah, you told me that.
I can talk for hours in a setting like this, no big deal. The minute I'm in front of a people, I get dry mouth like crazy.
That's wild.
And I was even on Google for Saturday, like, it's just like how do you get rid of it? And apparently it's a thing. Like, that's real.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it was like saying things like, start with the day before, like, you're going to be really hydrated, so drink plenty of water. I didn't have a Coke on Sunday morning like I normally do because it said avoid caffeine, can make it worse. And
well, I do not avoid caffeine, but I don't deal with it. But yeah,
but I was just the fact that like y'all go up there without water at all, like it just blows my mind because I know I gotta have the water. I got to.
Yeah.
I wish I didn't. I don't know what it is, but
it just
like the minute you get up there, it's like.
By the time I preach the first message, I am an espresso, a full cup of coffee, and usually half of a Alani energy drink down before I get up there for the 8:30 service.
That's wild.
Yeah.
It's too much.
So,
Too much. I usually just having my Alani right before I go.
That's what I need. That's what I need to carry the culture. Like, all right, here we go. So,
but it was fun.
But
it was good.
If you didn't get a chance to see it, go back. YouTube, go to the website, listen on the podcast.
Check your circle.
Check your circle.
Yeah, great message. Good job.
It was good.
I have a good circle.
Yep,
I do too.
Go team.
I have two circles really. I feel like two different worlds.
Like an inner circle, outer circle, or like two different circles.
Two different circles that are like different, like with my little breakfast club circle.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about like leaving them.
Well, that's three circles.
That one you frequent a little less lately, I feel like.
Yeah, and just because of life. I mean,
it's just how life goes.
Yeah, that's how life is. I mean, he's mentioning a close friend of mine, him and his wife. They're close friends of mine, but they got their daughter. Their oldest daughter is like 13 now. The youngest one's like
that's a busy
7, and she's a cheerleader, and they like to camp and stuff. They have like an RV, so a lot of times on the weekends in the summer they go like within 2 hours to a campground and stuff. But they stay busy as a family, so it's like,
and they don't go to the church. Not that makes them wrong. Just that.
They don't go to this church.
Yeah. In our church, they don't go to our church, so it's like you don't see them on Sunday mornings. Like,
right.
Those natural connections aren't happening. So you got to go out of your way a little bit to see them.
And which is cool and all. I mean, I think it's a part of life and the season of life that they're having to be in as a family. Which is cool. I mean, before they had kids, we did like everything together.
Yeah, I think about
vacation together and everything.
I think about like Joe and Jen Canarella. With Zachary, like they travel with him a lot. Like if they didn't go to our church, I feel like I would never see them ever. Like, we'd have to go out of our way to see each other.
Yeah,
that's kind of how it is with them. Where it's like if they didn't go here, it would. And
they live out in Molino, which it's far from my house,
bro.
You have to pack a lunch to go out. It's far from my house.
Yeah.
Of course, I live dang near all the way south by the water.
Not much longer.
I was about to say, about to move.
He's Justin's heading up to the north side.
Coming back to the 1-4.
Coming back to the 1-4.
Coming back to the 325-1-4.
I'm out there in the 3-3, baby.
3-3.
So.
Both of y'all, huh? Yeah. That cantonment.
That cantonment, bro.
That cantonment click.
The cantonment.
When we moved here, people kept telling me, they're like, hey, where do you live? I said, oh, yeah, cantonment. They're like, oh, yeah, the can.
The
Yeah,
can.
the can.
I never knew it was called the can. For
Yeah, you live in
I
the
feel
can.
like
couple
Theo
years.
Vaughn would call it the cantonment. You
The
know?
cantonment.
The cantonment.
You in the can, dog.
Yeah,
My cousin JC got a C and a C
Oh my god.
for the cantonment click. That's real.
Yeah.
The cantonment.
That's
click.
real.
Yeah, that was a real thing for like 6 weeks, and he got it tattooed on his arm. Yeah.
That's real, dog.
Oh man.
Anyways,
Yeah. Well, listen, it's exciting. We got some cool stuff happening for the summer, wrapping the summer up, and
it's a hot one. Y'all stay,
dude, it's brutal.
y'all stay
outside.
hydrated out
Stay
there.
hydrated. Yeah, stay
Yeah.
hydrated.
Drink plenty of water
Listen,
and watch how you talk
It
to
is.
me.
It is so hot that I've thought of many different variations. All right, you can see behind us. I don't know if this is in focus or not. Our cars are right there. It's right there. And I have considered on many occasions how I could get my car closer to a door so I didn't have to walk as far in this heat.
Park in the back.
I've thought about it on more than a few occasions.
I have too, by the way.
So I'm just like, dude, how can I get into this building faster?
I've been using
it's
my
so
app.
hot.
I've been
Start the
stuck
car?
like 20 minutes before I'm out there.
Oh, that's
Dude.
so good. Yeah.
That thing
Speaking of, I
is,
got to go get my car today.
that thing is
Car's ready.
Hey.
cooled down. But
Praise
yeah,
God.
yeah, it's just hot.
Yeah.
So stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated out there. Well, Rick,
Well-
you're up this Sunday.
I'm up this Sunday.
Rick's
Have
up.
fun.
Rick's going to bring
Y'all
us
don't be
the
missing
word.
church.
Yep.
That's right. A bunch of church skippers.
Come to church here, Rick.
Then we got Serve Day.
Serve day coming up.
Day coming up on the 20th.
Wow.
Yeah. Backpack
It's
giveaway.
the day after my birthday.
Hey.
Hey, yo.
Hey, yo.
Exciting.
So,
Exciting.
be what, 41?
No, sir. No, sir.
Is it
Only you are
39?
40.
Yeah.
39?
Me and Tiff.
39.
Yeah.
39.
I don't
Getting
like
old.
it. I don't like it.
Justin said on Sunday, our friendship's going on 30 years.
Yeah.
Getting there.
That is
We're almost
crazy.
there. Dude,
That's
tell me
wild.
about it.
I mean,
Tell me about it.
98-ish.
Yeah,
Long time
we're about
ago.
2-3 years out. Yeah.
Yeah, a long time ago. Anyways,
Well-
appreciate y'all being with us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good time.
I know this podcast changed your life. And if it
Changed
did,
mine.
if it did, Justin, tell them what we would love for them to do.
Go check us out, transformationchurch.com, or on all the socials at Transformation Pensacola.
That's right. Click the bell, like the thing, share the whatever.
Follow,
Yeah, all the
comment,
stuff. Do all the things.
subscribe.
Do all the things that help us.
whatever platform you're
Help
on,
you.
do that thing
That's right.
there.
Help us help you help us.
Yeah.
Help you. So,
That's right.
yeah. All right. Well, hey, listen, we love y'all. We'll catch you next week. Next week, yeah.
Next week, are we doing
Be
it?
us. Yeah,
Yeah,
It'll be
yeah.
us.
Yes.
We'll
They'll
bring
catch
Nate
you,
on.
They'll
He'll be-
catch you next week. Yeah, with Nate. They'll
With
catch you
Nate.
next
We'll bring
week.
Nate.
I won't be here next Tuesday, so I won't be here to record. But they'll catch you next week for another week, another sermon, another
Sermon
Message
recap.
recap podcast.
Later.
Later.